Right. Hello and welcome, everyone. We'll just give it a few seconds for people to join. Great to see attendee numbers climbing up already. Thanks very much for joining this latest webinar at Installerfest. Today we have the team from Worcester Bosch here today to talk to you, to give you some training on the latest range of system care packs. So I'm going to hand over to Mike Siviter, who's one of the training leads there. And we also have the rest of the team involved as well. So we've got Mark Durrans, Ewan Sutherland, Stuart Callow, who we've all got to answer any of your questions that you might have. So great to see so many of you here. For questions, I will direct you to the Q&A function. So please type your questions in there and we'll be able to get the team squirreling away and answering as many of those as we can as we go through it. Before we get there, we will pick up lots of time to actually kind of answer some of the questions at the end, but please type them in the chat as we go. Before we get there, let me introduce Mike, who is going to go through a bit of a presentation, and that will hopefully give us the kind of full rundown on these system care packs and provoke some of your questions as well. So over to you, and thanks for joining, Mike.
Cool, thanks Ben, thanks for having us. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. Yeah, so we're going to talk about our system care packs that we've began to offer. So this is a new range of accessories that you can pick up for our products, and really to explain why we've decided to go down this route, or why we've decided to sort of sell these. We need to give you a bit of background on why they're needed. So really the crux of it is that in the last 2 years we've had two additions to legislation that affect almost every boiler that's installed sort of today. So we really need to go through and look at some legislation. I'm going to start with the most recent one, so the one that changed in May last year, and I'm referring to BS7593, the Code of Practice for the Preparation, Commissioning and Maintenance of Domestic Central Heating and Cooling Water Systems. It just rolls off the tongue. This British standard was an update to a previous British standard, and it's essentially the water treatment standard. It's what you'd know as. It covers everything from how you even look after the system, how you prepare it, get everything ready as it should do, and how you maintain it. So this came into effect in May last year, which means everybody around the industry should be looking to this guidance for how to do these things in order for the installation to comply to building regs. So I want to give an overview of that standard and what's changed. And really, hang on, yeah, nearly. Broken it down into 5 sections really. So I want to talk about the first one. So the first one is cleaning. This really the start of the system. So you've got a system installed, or you're about to install a system. It needs to be cleaned. And what this standard did rather nicely was cement the fact that there are really 3 methods of cleaning a system, and they've all got their place. You know, some are better than others, but sometimes you can't do one over the other. So we'll talk about the first one, which is a chemical cleanse and a gravity flush. So that's where you fill the system, you add a chemical cleanser, you get it circulating. If you can, get it hot. The chemicals tend to work better when they are warmer. Once you've got it circulating over hours or days, is then to drop the system and refill it. And you know, that is the starter, that's the minimum you can do. And it's like what I was saying, it's got its place. You might have older pipework prone to leaks, very old systems, times where you just think, actually, I don't really want to put any pressure through this system at all. So that's a starter one. You then take it up a notch, and we've got a chemical cleanse and a mains flush. Same principle: fill the system, get the cleaner in there, get it circulating, get it warm. But after that is then to flush through under mains pressure any of the debris and sediment that you've got out. So you're naturally going to get more out with a mains flush than you would do just a gravity flush. The third one is a chemical cleanse and an assisted flush, and I'm really referring to a power flush there, or if you looked at like the Magna Cleanse technology from AD, that sort of thing is where you're doing a mains flush or a circulation flush, and then something extra. And what's interesting about those three methods is all of them start with a chemical cleanse. So for this British standard, in order for us to follow it, it means that every boiler that we install in some way or another needs a chemical cleanse. So that's one thing that we need. Okay, so I'll park that because I'll come back to that. The next one we've got is filters. Now, filters have been around for a long time now, and I think they've more than proven their worth in terms of the benefit they bring to the system, the gains in efficiency, the protection of the system, the maintenance. You can't really deny it. And what this standard did is, rather than sort of say, oh yeah, it's recommended, it's now sort of stepped it up and said, right, you should fit a filter to any central heating system that's being fitted or renovated. And that's believed by the manufacturers, because we offer longer guarantees when there is a filter. That makes sense. We know the boiler will last longer if it's got that extra protection. Now, what the standard also said is that fitting a filter is not the same as a cleanse and a flush. It's different. A filter is there for protection. The inline filters, anyway, that is a protection, whereas the chemical cleanse is the preparation. So that was interesting. So we've now got a situation where, okay, we've got to fit a filter to any installation, whether it's an open vent or a sealed system, whatever. And then the standard also brings in things to do with additional chemicals that maybe we've not used before or had too much exposure to. And these are things like antifreezes and biocides. So biocide's an interesting one because it's now more relevant because of another standard, which will another change to the legislation, which we'll come on to in a minute. So just quickly, biocide is for protecting from bacterial growth in the heating system. So you tend to find bacteria grows in cooler heating systems. So really the most common one that everybody be familiar with would be underfloor heating, because any water has bacteria in it, and naturally that will grow, and that can have an effect, and it turns the water slimy, and you've got a bacteria problem. If you ever looked at an underfloor heating manifold and the valves have gone greeny, that's a sign you've got bacteria growth. So bacteria you get in, like we said, cooler systems, but it's still relevant for every other system, because for 4 or 5 months of the year the heating is not on, that's a cool system as well, so it's still relevant. So it's always a consideration. You've got antifreeze that it mentions, so that's going to be perfect for things like park homes or garage installations, loft installations, external boilers if it's like an oil boiler. Just a method of protecting the system from frost, and that makes sense. So it's not on this slide, but it also talks about inhibitors as well. So with every heating system that you fit, you should treat it so that it protects itself from from debris buildup or corrosion, and that's an inhibitor. So we've got to have an inhibitor with this as well. Now, other things that this standard talks about, which is maybe new to some of us, is checking or testing of chemicals. So we've put inhibitor in the system, but inhibitor has has a lifespan. It's a consumable chemical. For some systems, it will be consumed quicker. For other systems, it won't. If a customer's constantly topping up the system because it's got a leak, it's going to be diluted. So one of the things that this standard talks about is the fact that we actually need to test if there is inhibitor in the system annually to make sure that it is still protected and still inhibited. And to check it in installation as well, because quite often, we fill the system and we chuck I don't know, maybe a bottle in or more if we feel we need to, but very rarely would you actually test to see if actually was that enough. So it talks about testing of these chemicals. Looking a bit further on, it talks about maintenance is standard. So if there is an inline filter present, it should be serviced annually. I think that's an understandable expectation. We want to see these filters serviced because if they block up from debris, they're not going to work as well. But naturally, it's a great indication of how well the system is being performed. If there's no debris or sludge buildup on the filter, good. That's a good indication that the system is being protected and looked after. So yeah, there's quite a few things covered under this standard, but from that page alone, from the changes, there are 3 definites that occur on there. The fact that it's got to be cleaned with a chemical, the fact that it's got to have a filter, and the fact that it should be inhibited. So those are 3 definites for any heating system that we install or renovate. So it's worthwhile mentioning that. Now, the other the other bit of legislation that changed going 2 years back now, believe it or not, was Boiler Plus. This was back in April of 2018. So Boiler Plus was a way of getting more energy efficiency out of the heating systems that we were installing. And it sought to do that by installing additional measures. So the overview of this was essentially that if you lived in England and a combi boiler was being installed, we have to fit a time and temperature interlock. And that's not TRVs, that's something that will shut the heating off. So that is a timer and a thermostat. Now they were needed anyway for Part L, but it just reinforced that, yeah, that was needed. But what it added was that you have to fit an additional energy saving measure on top of those. And the 4 are listed below. So we've got weather compensation, a smart control, a flue gas heat recovery system, and load compensation. So I'll just briefly go over what they all are. So weather compensation is something that's been around again for donkey's years, but to summarize, that is the heating system running or altering its flow temperatures depending on what's going on outside. So if it's a warm day, the heating system will have cooler temperatures, and if it's a cold day, it'll have much hotter temperatures. That's the easiest way to sort of look at it. When you talk about smart controls, what we're really referring to there is that the control has the functionality to automate and to optimize. So automation is going to be like habit learning. It knows when you're in and out of the house, or changes your program automatically depending on your behaviors. And optimization is whether it brings the heating on earlier or later depending on what the actual temperatures are doing. So there's 2 extra benefits. Flue gas heat recovery system is also an additional measure. This is a unit that fits on top of the boiler, and it uses the additional or the leftover heat from the spent flue gases to preheat the cold water coming into the boiler. If we're using extra energy, naturally less gas was used. So they do have a benefit. And then the last one is load compensation. Now, load compensation is a really nice solution, because what it does is it alters the boiler's flow temperature depending on the inside temperature, the room temperature. So if the room is very cold and you want it warm, the control tells the boiler, right, I need a massive increase in temperature here, I'll use a high flow temperature. But once the room is hot and close to what you want, the control will tell the boiler to use a lower flow temperature. So the benefits there are, we're using lower flow temperatures, we're more likely to condense, so more gas will be saved. So weather compensation and load compensation, both of those affect the flow temperature, which really reinforces what we spoke about on the previous side regarding to British Standard 7593, is biocide protection for temperatures, for heating systems on lower flow temperatures. Both of those control methods could make a heating system run cooler than it normally would. So it's worthwhile mentioning. So smart control as well could also mean that you can control it remotely as well. So if you've got remote access to a thermostat, the notion being that if you can control it and you're not going to be home, because you can, you'll turn it off, saving energy. That's a good thing. So from both of those legislations, I can really take away the following, really, is that for Boiler Plus, I need a time interlock, I need a temperature interlock, I need an additional measure. To satisfy British Standard 7593, I need to clean the system, I need to protect the system with a filter and an inhibitor. So I've got 6 things that are almost guaranteed, and there may be some circumstances, but you can almost bet that you will need all 6 of those things for any heating system that you would fit today, tomorrow, next week, whenever. So if you need 6 things, that really then makes sense. Okay, well, why don't we stick them together? And that's where these system care packs come in. You need 6 things, so why don't we offer a pack that has a Boiler Plus compliant control system and a BS7593 compliant system cleaning and protection solution? That just makes sense. So really, I mean, let's sort of talk. So currently we offer 4 system care packs to suit the range of boilers that we sell. So I'll start with the first one. So the first care pack that we offer is the Comfort 2 RF system care pack. Now in this, it includes the Greenstar Comfort 2 RF, which is a programmable thermostat that load compensates. So that ticks all the 3 boxes for compliant to Boiler Plus. If you've used Comfort 2, hopefully, for those that haven't, it's a very easy, straightforward control to use. The installation is simple. It clips into the front of the boiler. The wall unit has all the programming functions, and very easy to select temperature functions. And you've got heating and hot water control, even for the combis. So for the combis, the hot water is going to time the preheat, so you can get even more benefit from a control like that. So we've got the Boiler Plus compliant, and then for the British Standard, and this is really the same for all 4 packs, is we've got a mini filter fitted within there. So the mini filter is good for systems around the 10 radiator mark. That's not the be all and end all, but it's around that sort of that area. And then we've got a inhibitor in there, a product. We've got WB1 and we've got WB3, which is a cleaner. So for the British Standard compliance for the 7593, you've got all 3 parts that are there. And also when you look at a boiler's guarantee, the boiler guarantee from Worcester will be extended with a Worcester filter. So you've got that in the box. In order to validate the guarantee, it's got to be cleaned. That's in the box. And in order to validate the guarantee, it's got to be protected. So the inhibitor is in the box as well. So that just makes sense. Now, this particular care pack is geared towards the Greenstar ERP and compact ranges. That's what that controller is compatible with. Now, both of those boilers The I doesn't come with a filling link, and the compact comes with a keyed filling link, the one with the white key that you insert and turn. So in that particular care pack, we thought, right, maybe we could get even more value for money. So we've got a keyless filling link in there as well. So that's the first care pack that we offer. So if we have a look at the next one then, so this is the Comfort Plus 2 RF. Now this is for the 8000 lifestyle range. So the 8000 lifestyle, the control is fitted in a different manner. It plugs into the bottom of the boiler with a cartridge that we call the key. If you've not used one yet, it's reminiscent of like an old Game Boy. You just plug the cartridges, or like an old SNES. And they're prepared just like the Comfort 2. It's got the same benefits of the Comfort 2. It's got the heating and hot water control. It's a timer. It's a thermostat. And it load compensates. So it ticks the box. And then again, you've got the filter, the inhibitor, and the cleaner all included. So you've got that pack, which is for the 8000 range. So then we've got two more packs, but they're sort of really the same thing. Is we've got the Bosch Easy Control. So the Bosch Easy Control is a hardwired, or typically, normally, it's a hardwired, smart load compensating, with the option of weather compensating programmable thermostat. It's the whole package. It's got everything. But for the 2000 and 8000 range of boilers, it can also be installed wirelessly, which is a new fantastic benefit of those new boiler ranges. So in order to make the Bosch Easy wireless, it needs a wireless receiver, which is the RF key. And in order to make it look tidy, because it does need a power supply, you've got a nice sleek table stand for it to plug into. So you get all of that in the box. So you get the control, the key, the table stand, and then again, I've sort of said it 2 times already, but you got the filter, the inhibitor, and the cleaner all in one pack. Now we also do a 4th pack because the Bosch Easy Control comes in white. So you've got the choice there for colours. So we've got 4 packs, but they're all trying to do the same thing, or they're trying to offer you the same benefit, which is the fact that it's convenient. If you were to go into a merchant, you think, right, I need a boiler. I've got to fit this boiler for a customer. I need some cleaner from you. Can I have a cleaner? Or I need an inhibitor as well. Yeah, can I have that? Oh, yeah, I need a filter. Oh, I need a control. Just give me that one. You've had to buy all these things, whereas now you can just go, yeah, can I have the boiler, please? Can I have the flue? And can I have a care pack? And you're done. That's all you need. So the purchasing of these products is much more convenient now. You've just got one part number and you get all 6 things that you needed. Because they're all Worcester products, they're going to be covered under the guarantee. So the filter is going to extend the guarantee, but it's also going to be covered under the boiler's guarantee. The control is going to be covered under the guarantee. So you also get an additional benefit by having these Worcester products together. And naturally, probably one of the questions that you'd like to know is, okay, well, what's this going to cost? And the answer, to put it simply, is that it's going to vary between merchants. But when you buy things as a bundle, naturally they are going to be cheaper. So it's a more cost-effective solution as well. So, you're going to save a percentage by buying it all in one box rather than buying them all individually. That's obvious. So it's cost-effective. And really what we've sort of been saying up until now is the fact that it's compliance as well. If you're ever unsure, what do I actually need to do to be compliant to legislation? Well, if you buy one of these care packs, you will be compliant to legislation. So you've got the time, temperature, additional measure, a filter, an inhibitor, and a cleaner you've got it all. So if you used all of those, you will have complied to legislation. So hopefully it's a range that you'll be interested, definitely interested in, and hopefully it clears up why we might need, or why we've bothered, and why we need these things. And it's because of current legislation, or legislation that's been around for nearly 2 years now. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Should we go to some questions now? Perhaps from the
Yeah, sure, go for it.
See what we've had, a couple coming in, and if you've joined that in the audience, please do keep asking them coming through the Q&A feature there, and we'll do our best to answer them. If we don't, we'll be able to get some information to you perhaps afterwards.
Sure.
But Ansar makes a point, almost more than the question, just about customers don't clean the filler. Is that like something you've experienced?
Don't clean the filter.
Yeah, filter. I think he's slightly mistyped it.
Yeah.
Does this help
Yeah.
with that? Any can't really get around that.
Well, it's not for the customer to clean it, it's for the engineer to clean it when he attends annually. So I think without beating around the bush, there are instances where you sort of begrudgingly think, oh, I've got another thing to clean here, I've got another job to do, another task to do on a service. But it's a really important yardstick. If you can clean that filter, you've got a water sample there that you could use with something like a turbidity tube, so you can actually see what's the color of the water, how clear is it. So you've got a water sample from cleaning the filter. You can see if there's any sludge buildup around it. So yeah, I know sometimes it might think, all right, I've got another job to do, but it's such a valuable one. It tells you so much. So yeah, it's one of those.
Okay. How about this one from Owen about, are there any biological filters for heating systems to clean, capture, or kill bacteria?
So the bacteria itself will grow. So you wouldn't get a filter that would take it out. You've got to have the chemical in there to kill it, and it really to prevent it from growing in the first place. There are filters out there that do have a specialized trap in the bottom to catch other like additional debris from it, that like maybe bacterial stuff, but it doesn't kill it, it doesn't prevent it. So you need the biocide. That's a really important one.
It was suggesting something like flushing it or something like that. Is that
no, you wouldn't. If you had a system that had bacterial growth, if it's bad, I'd just drop the system and start again.
Okay.
And make sure you got biocide in there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions kind of coming in? There was one around Openfirm. I'm not sure, Michael, Reddy, what exactly kind of the question is, but perhaps that's something, Mike, you could just comment on.
So Openfirm is a method of communication. It's a communication language between system accessories and the boiler. So really what we're talking about here is how the control communicates to the boiler. And just because it's Openfirm doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have those features. It probably will. So, for example, an Openfirm control would compensate a boiler because it's got that intelligent communication. So yes, that would meet the legislation. Worcester ourselves, we use a system called EMS, which is an equivalent. So all Worcester controls use EMS, and through that intelligent communication, get the boiler to compensate, whether compensate smart control or load compensate using that EMS. So I think that's what he's really referring to.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
How about a question around warranty from
Sure.
Answar? What do I have to do to get a long warranty? What sort of warranties are we talking about? Is that something that you guys offer?
Yeah. So it depends on the model. So the entry level model, the 2000, all models of gas boiler have a 5-year guarantee out of the box. If you fit the filter, if you fit a Worcester filter, sorry, we will extend that guarantee, which then sort of makes sense for these care packs. So if you've got a 2000, it will go up to 6 years with a filter. If you've got a I or compact ERP, I believe it goes up to 8 years with a filter. Oh, don't quote me on that. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
numbers.
and if you fit the 8000 with a filter, with the Worcester filter, it'll go up to 10 years. So you've got that sort of spectrum of warranty. So yeah, just fit a Worcester filter and you'll get that extended guarantee, which is in the care pack. Stuart said I'm right. It is 8 years.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You said something about the 8000 care pack. Connor is asking, why don't you include a filling link in the 8000 pack?
Because the 8000 already has the filling link built into it. So it comes in the box, so we don't need to say an extra one.
Excellent. There we go. Rattling through them. Pete Walker asks, how long can the cleaner be left in and how strong is it?
So it's the cleaner itself is it can be left in for up to 28 days. It's based on technology from an industry partner, Fernox. So it's similar to their F3. So it's going to be for moderately fouled or new systems. If you come across a system where you just think I need something with a punch here, then you're going to look at a more aggressive cleaner like MC5, F5, and X400. Okay. The Sentinel one, can't remember what it was. So you go for a more aggressive one, or the X800, sorry, for the Sentinel one, if you felt it was a really bad system. So this is going to do the majority of systems that you're going to come across. Okay.
Question about what about larger systems or something, or what if I need a larger filter? Actually, sorry, from Bill Dawson.
So the filter itself. So we decided to go for the mini filter because through market research, it turns out that in more than 60% of instances when a filter is fitted, it is of the mini variety. So it makes sense to fit the most common size filter, and we say it's good for approximately 10 radiators, but the big difference between the mini filter and the 22mm larger filter is the capture volume. But because you've got a decent inhibitor, you shouldn't be producing any corrosion to capture. So the 10 radiators is a yardstick. If you've got a system that you are protecting annually, testing annually, actually a mini filter could do a much larger system. It depends on that maintenance aspect. Hopefully that sort of answers the question.
Okay, and does that answer Keith Lloyd's asking about 10 radiator systems and larger? It comes down to that.
Yeah, and it might be that actually that that a bigger filter is needed. You make that decision. You can still buy these things separately, or you could buy the care pack and then buy the filter, and then you've got a spare filter to sell on for another job perhaps. So it's not right, you've got a care pack, you must fit that filter. You've got flexibility there. But what I'm trying to say is that if it's a bigger system, you don't have to discount the mini filter straight away. Just need to protect it, inhibit it, maintain it.
Okay. And then another question on these care packs: are they compatible with other companies' boilers?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry.
Tiomir is asking if they're compatible with other companies' boilers.
The controls wouldn't be, because they use EMS, which is a Bosch language. So it's only going to work with a Bosch boiler. Worcester Bosch boiler. So you could buy them, but then you're going to be left with a control. So the filter is a filter. That's going to work with anything. A cleaner is a cleaner, an inhibitor is an inhibitor. But the control itself will only work with the Worcester.
Okay. And what about the connected filters and sort of privacy and data and that sort of thing? Is that kind of about spying on the installer?
Not at all. I mean, we don't offer a connected filter. We're still just keep it simple. It's just a filter. But I don't think there's a big conspiracy for data harvesting and spying on people. No.
Great. Anything else that people want to ask? I think we've probably still got like a couple more minutes for sure. If we want any more questions that we can kind of send through. We've got one or two actually in the chat. Derek, you mentioned about care packs that you'll be selling. Will you be selling the electronic TRVs as packs as well as individually?
Sort of a separate question really to the care packs. The answer is I don't know. With regards to that, the minute you can buy the Bosch Easy with 3 ETRVs as a pack, but currently you can only just buy the ETRVs singly. So I don't know. Perhaps watch this space on that one.
Okay, great. And let's just clear up for Mike as well. EMS is Energy Management System.
Yeah, it's just a method of communication. So the easiest way to think about these things like EMS, Openfirm, eBus, CAN bus, the wealth, like the massive amounts of the languages that are out there. What they do is they don't just tell the boiler to be on or off like an old-fashioned thermostat would. It's not like a 230 on and off. It's actually a communication. EMS allows the thermostat to go, right, my customer wants me to be 20 degrees. I'm currently 13 degrees. So can you give me 90% of my flow temperature, please? The boiler goes, yep, that's no problem. So it allows more of a communication, better burner control, which means more gas saving.
Okay. I think we kind of covered the size of the systems. I guess that how many radiators the mini filter looks after, it's probably hard to put a number on it. Does it just depend on how well you kind of protect and look after the system? But does it mean you need more cleaner and inhibitor for larger systems?
Potentially. So the WB1 inhibitor we've suggested, it's suggested it's good for up to 100 litres. So naturally there's going to be systems that are larger than that. So if you did need that, we've partnered sort of with Fernox for these cleaners. So you would, if you needed more, you would top that up with F1 to make up the difference. Same with the cleaner. So with WB3, if you felt like actually I needed more cleaner because it's a larger system, you could supplement that with F3 to get the larger volumes.
Great, thanks Mike, and thanks everyone for your questions. Are there any other final points, Mike? Anything you'd like to kind of leave people with? I guess we can always pass on details, and we can make the recording available for people to go back to.
You can make it available. We've recently launched a training academy group on Facebook. So the trainers from Worcester Bosch are managing a group there where we're going to post content regularly. So on Facebook, just search Worcester Bosch Training Academy and enter your business details, just your gas save, just so we know that you know what you're doing. So we'll be doing that. And
is that free for people to join? Or
absolutely free, yeah. And we'll be we're doing webinars ourselves there, and in the future we'll probably be offering more online training. Just for the future. So you can watch that space, and really just to tie off from the care packs, which is what we were here for, is they just make so much sense. And if you've through the training academy that we operate in, there's always questions of, okay, well, there's new legislation. Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? It's a really convenient, cost-effective way of complying to legislation. It just makes sense. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, well, Mike and the team that were helping to answer some of those questions in the background, I want to thank you guys for your time, for coming on here, for answering all the questions. Hopefully that was really useful for people, and hopefully we'll see you all again soon, either in person or another one of these virtual events or webinars.
Wonderful.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having us.
Until next time. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
See you later. Thanks.